Greetings, my fellow creative humans. I am coming to you from the cab of my truck again. It's the end of the day. I am parked for the night. I'm off duty. It's nearly the end of the week, and I realized I haven't gotten my weekly video recorded and posted. So as much as I would love to go home right now and take a shower and eat dinner and go to bed and do it all over again tomorrow, I want to talk to you about chapter 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm doing The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. Doing it again. I've done it 2 other times over the years, and I'm feeling called to do it again. It's been challenging this week, partly because business has been good. I've been running pretty hard. I was crunching the numbers earlier today, and I'm projecting that this week is going to be my highest grossing week to date ever so far yet. In trucking, and actually not just in trucking, but just I've never made more money than I am right now, and so that's really, really cool. So the chapter that I'm here to talk to you about is on recovering a sense of power, and it's not lost on me the power that I feel making more money than I've ever made in my life so far through my day job. And that's very powerful and empowering, and it helps me appreciate the importance of having a day job so that I can just create art that I create for the love and the joy of it, and not having to worry about monetizing it and needing it to support me. I'm very tired, so all of my synapses are not quite firing as fast as they normally do, so I'll probably be stumbling to find my words tonight. Anyways, before the weekends, I want to honor my commitment of recording a weekly video as I do The Artist's Way, which, to be honest, and I mentioned this a bit last week, I am struggling with, because this week I have been working hard, but it's paying off. So I didn't even really read the full chapter. It was more of a skimming and reviewing my notes from the last 2 times that I did it. I still suck at the morning pages, definitely avoiding writing. And last weekend, to be honest, I didn't get a solo artist date in. I was doing so good on those, and I prioritized other things. But I am happy to report that although my husband and I moved 3 months ago, we finally finished unpacking last weekend. So on the one hand, I'm really proud of that accomplishment. On the other, I recognize that that's probably a perfect example of choosing other things over creative expression. And a lifetime of that is why we end up just completely not honoring our creativity. So I am grateful now that we're unpacked and I'm finally able to put my studio back together. That was set up. That was a priority when I moved into our new rental. But then there was a water leak and I had to move stuff, and it's just been a disaster. So hopefully I will get the studio put back together this weekend. Anyways, chapter 3, recovering a sense of power. Julia covers a lot of things in this chapter. She talks about anger and shame as emotions that come up for us around this time in doing The Artist's Way. But she also talks about synchronicity and serendipity. And she talks about how when we finally start to honor creativity and we start to take small steps, basically we decide to start to create, then opportunities serendipitously just start to show up. We decide we want to write a play and we happen to meet someone who directs plays. We decide that we want to start painting again. We hear about a call for entry for a show. So it's like we just start to take baby steps, and then the opportunities just start to open up for us, and I can relate to that a lot. But the one thing that really kind of triggered me actually from this chapter was Julia talking about sort of an old bumper sticker slogan of "leap and the net will appear." And that really triggered me because I took a huge leap of faith 4 years ago and quit my day job. And 9 months later, my husband lost his day job. And long story short, that's how we both ended up getting into trucking. And for a long time, I was really sad and disappointed. I felt like I was a failure, that things didn't work out. I felt anger and resentment towards him. I felt like he let me down, let us both down. But thankfully, 4 years is a long time. Well, let me back up. It was 4 years ago that I left my day job. It was 3 years ago when he lost his job, and then we both went into this new career. But I guess actually this ties back into serendipity and synchronicity, because the truth is most days I feel like I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. I learned during what I call now my 9-month creative sabbatical, when I was just doing my creative stuff full time. I felt so isolated and lonely. I didn't have structure because I didn't have to go to an office 5 days a week. I began during that time that I was just doing my stuff, painting and writing. I was starting to crave at least a part-time job, some stability and connection with other people. But since I've gotten into trucking, I have moments, especially being a flatbed driver now when I'm working outside, these flashback memories to when I was 17 and I went on a 14-day mountaineering expedition. And I remember towards the end of that experience, Don, one of my Outward Bound leaders, saying to me, if you go back to the life you've been living, you go back to Michigan, you follow this path. I was a recent high school graduate and I was getting ready to go to college, and I had a part-time retail job, and he said, if you go back to that life, you are never going to be happy. You need to move to Colorado, and you can go to college out here, but you need to get a job working for Outward Bound. You love being outside. This is where you belong. And I didn't know how to process what he was sharing with me. And it's taken more than 25 years and a slew of life experiences for me to be now in trucking and pulling flatbed and working outside a lot of my day. And remembering what he said to me and being like, oh my gosh, he was so right. I went back to the Midwest. I went back to conforming to what other people wanted me, what I felt like they wanted me to do. I was looking outside of myself for their love and validation. And I wasn't true to myself, whether it was honoring my creativity or needing to have adventure in my life, which trucking gives me every day. So to tie in with the serendipity and synchronicity that Julia talks about in chapter 3, I love trucking, and I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm so grateful for all of the gifts that it continues to give me, like making more money than I've ever made in my entire life so far. I was crunching some numbers earlier today, and it's only Thursday, and I'm on track to gross more this week than I've ever made in my entire life at any job. So in regards to recovering a sense of power, it's really freaking empowering to be completely financially independent, especially as a woman, but I'm sure it is for anybody, regardless of your gender. And it really frees me up to create whatever I want to without worrying about how to monetize it. Like I started doing this new, I'm playing with photography again, And I'm posting one image on Facebook every day. I just started a couple days ago. I was inspired by other people who were doing a 7-day challenge. And I was like, oh, I wish someone would challenge me. I'm like, yeah, screw it. I'm going to challenge myself. And then I was like, well, 7 days isn't long enough. So I challenged myself to do an entire year and created a whole new album on Facebook. So check it out. So that's my rambling on chapter 3, recovering a sense of power from the artist's way. Wow, this video is way longer than any of my others. That's what happens when I'm tired. I ramble. So next week, chapter 4 is on integrity, recovering a sense of integrity. So I hope you'll continue to join me if you're struggling with keeping up and doing all of these little exercises that Julia promises is going to help us work through our creative blocks. Don't worry, you're not the only one. It's not easy when you got a full-time day job and other responsibilities and feeling like you're being pulled in a million different directions. So just do your best. Until next week, keep the shiny side up and keep living creatively. Talk to you later.